I'm Scott, and I've got a 1958 Martin 00018 guitar in for a neck reset and a finish repair around the headstock. The headstock broke a long time ago, before they really had good Luthery finish repair techniques. Definitely they didn't have, it wasn't, known to the public how to do a good finish repair when this thing was broken back in the early 60s and repaired. So we'll be taking a look at the neck joint and the headstock repair. Let's take a look at the neck joint. I'm not going to show you the neck pull in this video because the last few weeks I've been pulling a lot of necks, and you can go back a week or two and see a bunch of neck pulls. But I will be showing you the glue up with hot hide glue today, and talk about where you would drill your holes if you were to be pulling one of these necks. Oddly enough, you wouldn't want to drill through the fret slot. I had to angle back so far that I actually cut through a good 2 millimeters of dovetail with my drill bit. You could probably leave the fret in and just drill right behind it, and you'd want to drill about 7 millimeters from the edge and just do a little finish repair on the rosewood. Because the problem with drilling it at an angle is, if you need to steam it off, the steam needle's not going to take that bend. It's just going to hit the neck block and stop. So you're never going to be able to get down to this bottom little area of the shortest little point of the dovetail with your heat. You're just going to come in. If you go through the fret slot like I did, somehow I got it to work because I drilled through the wood far enough, about halfway through, before it poked out into the pocket. Well, anyways, I've got it all shimmed up and ready to glue on, so let's glue it on right now. We'll let it sit overnight, and then I'll start filming again in the morning. We'll do the finish repair. Let's get out the hot hide glue. So I got the neck in the Total Vise number 7. I think it's the best vise for holding a guitar neck while you're carving the dovetail and putting on the shims and whatnot. The shim that I'm using on the fretboard extension, this is the StewMac bass shims. They're unshaped bass shims. They come in different degrees and whatnot, and they're $8 each. And you're probably going, well, you're crazy. Why would you spend $8 on such a small piece of wood? And I'm telling you that it's nice to just have them already fabricated and made and ready to go. It's really nice. And then I take the neck. Yeah, I can string it up. Actually, while it's in this vise, I can string it up in the top deflection. Some of these old guitars, when you string them up, the belly's a little flatter right now with no string tension, but once I have string tension on that bad boy, it'll move a little bit, and you can get the wrong neck angle if you're just using a straight edge to determine your neck angle. So look at this. This is the StewMac scissor jack and a thermoplastic caul, or friendly plastic caul, that's formed to fit the very tip of the neck heel. But it's got magnets in it, and it's great for this application right here. So this neck is all ready to set for overnight. I'm going to put a couple more clamps here on the fretboard extension. Before I get that last clamp on here, let's look at the trajectory of the neck with the straight edge over the bridge. It's got a little bit of a gap there above the wood. And when we started off, it was more like this. So I took the neck off, put it back on at this new angle, and I tested it with string tension in my nice tall saddle. This is just a temporary saddle. It has a few shims under it, that's why it doesn't fit perfectly down there. Now I'll put this last clamp on here to hold the fretboard extension. These quick grip clamps are great because they go right, the bottom foot goes under that transverse brace. Alright, people bring me high-end stuff. Martin HD28, a Gretsch White Falcon, a Gibson Custom Shop 1968 ES335 TD. Well, it's the next day, believe it or not. And that's the neck set. Looks alright, if I might say so. 4/64 action on the high E and 5/64 on the low E. Looks like I'll be able to use that dummy saddle as a template for my new permanent saddle. And I can tell the nut slots are a little too low, so I'll fill those in. The neck feels really good and straight. There's no hump at the body joint. I'm going to be dressing the frets. No, but anyways. What else? I just want to kind of check the relief and all that stuff, and I'll take these strings off and we'll do that finish repair. Let's take a good look at it now. Let's just set it over here. So you can see how they painted over the original veneer, the rosewood veneer overlay. They painted over it with the solid color, and that's what he wants me to get rid of. It can be a little problematic getting these out of here after 60 years, but this is a 1/4-inch red oak dowel, and it's slightly tapered. I stick it in from the bottom side, and this little thing has some little cork legs on it, or cork on the bottom of the legs. It's actually something I used to glue something on the side of like the output jack on to repair an output jack on a ES335 kind of guitar. Hollow body. Anyways. Popped, and it rolled away. What could have been so bad they had to hide it with this brown paint? I think they even sprayed it on the sides. I think he said he just used steel wool to get it off over that area. I think it's because of this blowout over here. Is the reason they did it. Yeah, they painted it right onto the sides, the back, even on the top. So weird. They did things weird in the 60s, man. As a matter of fact, most of these bridges are in the wrong place on some of these years. They just put it like an 1/8 inch too far forward. scraping, using a scraper that is, would be okay if we were completely stripping the finish, but I actually want to be preserving what's underneath here, this brown. I want to preserve the original, so I'm going to take it real easy and sand and scuff. And slowly reveal that wood grain back. It's been missing, it's been hidden for 60 years. This is going to be cool. I'm using 600 grit wet sandpaper from StewMac. It's the lowest grit that I keep in my wet sand bucket. Keep a little tub of water over there. I keep all the little sandpapers, 600 through 2000 grit, StewMac wet sand, wet, dry, whatever. Doesn't look too bad, honestly. It's baffling why they would cover the front of it with brown paint when it was the back that probably looked worse. I thought there was going to be a giant blowout right here, but nothing's missing. It's all here. It's just great news. He's going to love this. There's just, yeah, there's a little... nothing. I'm going to put a little glue boost on here or something. A little fill and finish, man, real quick. Make this look really nice. Or I could French polish it. Or both. Naphtha, naphtha, naphtha. Want to get rid of that real dark little bit there. And I'll use this graver. This is called a graver. It's a jeweler's tool. It's a little bit of a strange, crispy kind of sort of filler right here. This may have been what they're really concerned about. Covering this up right here. Probably some hide glue or something. But I'll fill this in with glue boost. And probably French polish right over the rest of it. Probably look alright. I've got a little fill and finish. I got a little Master Tint Transparent Brown. This mixes, it's a tint that mixes right into Glue Boost. And it doesn't take a lot. Like, a little pinprick is, a little pinprick is enough. I like taking a Q-tip and just kind of breaking it and doing a little blunt bit. We'll drop it in and accelerate it. It's pretty dark. On top of that one color coat that I dropped in, I'm going to put clear over top. Several layers to build it back up to the top. It's the fill and finish thin. Accelerate. Well, 600 grit on a sanding block. It's the 600 grit free cut sandpaper from Stewart. This is the level sanding. We'll wipe it with a little naphtha, kind of see where we're at. Figure out what I'm going to do next. I'm going to drop in some lacquer thinner. Some of these checking lines have bubbled up. And I can close some of them back up with the thinner. I can feather it out too to kind of level it. Some of them accept the lacquer thinner and some of them stay closed. I'll do a little scrapage. I learned that if I scrape off the very top hardest layer of that paint, that it gives me a head start on removing the rest of it. So just a real light scrape to break the surface. And then I hit it with the 600 grit dry sandpaper. It's the free cut from Stewart. I get that. I'm doing that. Get that voice from the Californians on Saturday Night Live. There's a guy named Stewart. That's the maroon Scotch-Brite pad and a vacuum hose. Why, oh why would they go over the entire headstock, including the decal, with brown paint? It's like, these days I think someone would be okay with just seeing a crack on their headstock. This brown master tint is pretty diluted. Looks like if I do decide to use it, I'm gonna have to go over it 4 or 5 times probably to build up a dark enough color to match the surrounding. This is like a thick deluxe scraper. Not so hard on the fingers. The little flimsy oval one was pretty rough on the old fingers. Once again though, break the surface. I'll go over the whole area with the 600 grit free cut sandpaper. Try the flimsy one. I did find out there's some areas that are kind of hard to get at, especially around the crack, the old crack. And the problem around the old crack is there's brown paint stuffed down into that crack now. And I'm going to have basically sand it right down to bare wood. I'll preserve what's left, and then I'll tint over the bare wood with the glue boost, which is nice because the bare wood's down in a little, kind of like down in a little ditch. You can't see from this camera angle, but it's got a little dip there. I'm trying to get at it with this this convex shaped sanding block. There's the Kovacs hard rubber sanding block. Still not really cutting the mustard to get down in that little valley where that brown paint went down in the crack. So I'm going to take some of the, I'm going to get kind of aggressive here with some of the lower grit free cut stick it sandpapers, the 3M stick it rolls. I'm going to take 120 and 220 grit right on my fingertip and try to dig out and level off that crack. Pick up some of that brown paint. It worked pretty good. But I'm creating a deeper valley. Now I'm taking lacquer thinner on a Q-tip and wicking up what's left of the brown paint, whatever's left down in that crack. I can get it out with chemicals, solvents. Use them if you got them. Just don't light a cigarette. Luckily, I don't smoke. But for those of you that do, you might not want to do it around lacquer thinner. Now I'm going to wipe it with naphtha, not to only to clean, but to see what it looks like. When it's completely dry, it looks completely different than when you wipe it with something wet. I like to accelerate the paper towel on, well, right next to my exhaust fan that I installed into my wall, and accelerate the piece, and then wipe on the fill and finish ultra thin with a Q-tip. The Q-tip works great on the sides of the headstock, but I'll show you another different trick that I use for the front and the back. And I actually came up with this. Well, Ian Davlin came up with the technique, and I kind of refined it to my own special needs here. Just want to thanks to Glue Boost, Ian Davlin and Dan Earlywine at the Luth Group, and they worked together to come up with these products and test them out and show us how to use them. I think that if those guys back in 65, if they would have just wiped this headstock with shellac, they would have gotten the impression that, it really wouldn't have looked so bad with just a clear finish over it. Definitely not, I don't think it would have looked as bad as that brown paint. Because this is completely untinted here, this is just clear. Every time you go over it, it gets a little deeper and a little darker. And I just wish they would have gotten some shellac and just brushed it on over the break and seen what it would look like. I think what they're doing is they're looking at it all dry like that and going, oh my God, this wood is way too light. We're going to have to really cover this up. It looks horrible. But you can wipe it with water or naphtha or denatured alcohol or isopropyl alcohol even. to clean it off and get it wet and see what it's going to look like. Now I'll use the accelerated paper towel here. I like using the I think it's called Everyday Strong paper towels. I don't use the Viva for the acceleration and the glue boost fill and finish. I use it for polishing at the end, but I use the Everyday Strong for this accelerator. Just going to go around the edges with a Q-tip and try to fill in that little void there by the low E tuner. We still got our old checking lines from the original lacquer poking through, which is kind of nice. And you know, I'm kind of wondering if people in museums that do restoration work on the old artwork, if they're using CA glue. It wouldn't surprise me if they do. We're not destroying the original finish, or just kind of protecting it under a thin layer of this cyanoacrylate glue. And this is that trick I was telling you that I kind of came up with. I fold up a paper towel, Everyday Strong, and I take a piece of cardboard and I just really douche it down with Johnson's paste wax, both sides. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a barrier between the fill and finish that's going to be on a different piece of paper towel, this one here. This one I'm going to fold up just twice and stuff the waxed piece inside. And then I'll take a bigger piece of cardboard and use it as my applicator. So here's the fill and finish ultra thin. I'm putting down about a dozen drops and I'm wiping it right over the headstock face. And it goes on pretty darn smooth. I got to accelerate in between each one. I separate the two pieces. I pitch the one that had fill and finish on it, and I save the waxed piece that's my barrier coat. And I use a fresh piece, another dozen drops of the fill and finish ultra thin, accelerate, wipe, accelerate, wipe. I just continue to do this about a dozen times. Here's my exhaust fan. That's my little tablet that I zoom on. Here's my acceleration on a Everyday Strong paper towel. Now I'll get to work on the crack. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in a lot. I mean, like 400 new subscribers over the last month. It's been pretty crazy. They're liking these videos that are titled with funny titles, you know. Say no to crack. Look away, SJ. Whatever else I came up with, I can't remember, but okay, so now I'm going over the raw wood area with the transparent brown, and I'm liking what I see. It's going on nice and thin. It's curing real quickly because I've had so much accelerator out. By the way, I'm wearing a respirator as I apply this, and I'm just narrating over the video. But use your exhaust fans. Wear a respirator while using the glue boost. It's good to wear eye protection too. I've noticed it kind of irritates my eyes sometimes. If I stand directly over it, if there's not enough air circulating around, it can get up in your eyes, just the fumes. It's not very pleasant. Oh, by the way, this is my first time trying the transparent brown on any project. It's just my first time. I ordered some Glue Boost Master Glue gel and some white, fill and finish white when it first came out about 6-9 months ago. And he threw in a little teeny bag of this stuff. And this is the first time it dawned on me that I should give it a try. And you'll see here in a few minutes when it's done. It's hot. I wouldn't say I got to home plate with this finish repair, but we rounded third base. We got a really good look, and I'm pretty sure John's going to be really happy. He's in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I told you in a video a couple weeks ago he was in Little Rock, but I knew it was in Arkansas somewhere. Anyways, now I'm going over top of everything with some clear fill and finish ultra thin on a paper towel. This is just a barrier coat to seal in the color. Now I'm going to scuff it with the maroon Scotch-Brite pad. It'll knock off some of the kind of like brush strokes that are left by the paper towel. I'll accelerate it again first, and it's pretty obvious I need to go over it again with a little more of the transparent brown. So this finish repair wasn't the big money ticket on this invoice. The neck reset was really the main reason it got sent over here, to get it playable again, get a new tall bone saddle. It had a little plastic saddle in there and a bunch of wood putty saddle slot. It has one of those vintage 50s through saddles, the bone saddle like we worked on, we fabricated in a few weeks ago in a video, another Martin. I think that was a Martin D28. But it has that style, and I'm going to restore it back to its original bone through saddle. It's going to be a nice tall saddle. It's going to be playable. It's going to sound really great. And this was kind of an afterthought, getting this old paint off the headstock. And I'm glad we're doing it. I'm going to end up spending 6 or 7 hours on it and charging $300 some, but I think it's going to be worth every penny. Just wait to see what this looks like. Now that I've got a good top coat of Glue Boost on there, I'm going to scuff it one more time with the maroon Scotch-Brite. Kind of levels off those brush strokes. And then I can see there's a little bulge, a little bump here. I'm going to strip sand. I can't remember what these sheets are, if I can remember. Well, it's something you can buy from Amazon. I want to say, what the heck was that called? Yeah. Oops. I had a rogue splatter of Glue Boost fly off the Q-tip. That's Lola. So we'll do a little more strip sanding and get rid of that nasty looking bulge. We'll move up to the 300 grit. Another coat of clear. Accelerator. Maroon Scotch Brite. Gray Scotch Brite. I've almost got this looking like a guitar again. Not too bad for a 1958. Yeah, this goes on, but believe it or not, this whole process only took a few days. One day for scraping and then another day for glue boosting. I'll take another day to put the tuners back on, restring it, do the fret level, recrown and polish. I'll make that new saddle. After a few more coats of this here, ultra thin. Once you get it somewhat level, not too lumpy, I like to wet sand it with 1500, 2000 wet sandpapers with a little bit of Simple Green as a lubricant, and then I hit it with a little Trizact 3000 and I finish it off with some Meguiar's automotive polishing compounds, usually the Ultra Cut 105, the Mirror Glaze 105 Ultra Cut compound. I think I found a good look for this one, and I kind of did some diagonal Scotch Brite scratches and then hit it with some Meguiar's plastic polish after the Trizact 3000. I skipped a couple of grits because I actually wanted it to look a little bit, a little bit more relict and a little bit more rustic. So I'll try to blow off some of the dust that got down into those peg holes. I'll clean it with naphtha one last time, and I'll hit it with the Plastex polishing compound and we'll put it aside for a day. Well, there it is. Turned out pretty sweet. I'm going to give you a close-up here in a second. But man, I just want to say thanks to all you new subscribers for tuning in and helping out with the channel, and all the people that have been here for years, spreading the word. It's been great. I mean, not just for the money either. YouTube sends me a little cabbage every month, but the amount of business that comes in off of YouTube, you know, that stuff like this, neck resets, These fetch over $1,000. These jobs, and I get a lot of them from YouTube viewers, and I want to try something with a capo on this guitar because it's got such a sweet sound, and I got a sweet song that I want to play for you. If I needed you, would you come to me? If you come to me, love, and ease my pain. If you needed me, I would come to you. I'd swim the sea for to ease your pain. Thanks for hanging out and tuning in. Catch you guys later.